Podcorn. This podcast is brought to you by MC2424A, IPRMSA, UITM, Malacca Chapter.
Hi, hello, Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome back to today's episode brought to you by IPRMSA, UITM, Malacca Chapter. A podcast all about fun, honest podcast fronted by a curious girl, aka me, your host, Aina Azamri. Who else could it be about anything and everything? Hashtag you listen, we talk. To keep up to date with what's coming up, be sure to check out our official social media on every platform at IPRMSA Malacca. So, this week's podcast will be fascinating because I will have a guest with me. Finally, I am not talking alone anymore, guys. Without further ado, welcome to this guest, Cairo Muzamil. Hi, Cairo.
Hi.
How are you doing, Cairo?
So, Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. Thank you for asking, and thank you, Aina, for inviting me as a guest for today's episode of your podcast.
Thank you for making time to be here with me today to share your opinion, and lucky you to be sitting in this hot seat discussing a hot topic. So, but before that, tell us a bit about yourself and what you are currently up to.
So, for those who don't know, I'm Cairo, aged 23 years old this upcoming July. I'm also Aina's classmate, where we're both students pursuing our degree in public relations in UITM campus Alugajah. And I'm also the current president of IPRMSA UITM Malacca Chapter.
Okay, I think that's enough for a bit of introductions of Cairo. I bet some of you are thrilled to know what topic will be discussed in today's episode. So, chang, heroes to weroes. As we all know by now, social media is rife with men and women arguing about who is better or right and wrong. When boys and girls don't see women in positions of power, they start to think only men can be leaders. Girls are then less likely to pursue leadership roles. For your information, guys, there are still gaps in statistics and perceptions by Malaysians on women's involvement in specific fields. Only 18% of the 43 highest positions in the government, such as Secretary General at ministries or director in the country, are filled by women. So, as for today's episode, we will discuss and emphasize in further about gender equality in leadership. Having Cairo Muzamil share his opinion with us today will be much more exciting, and obviously it's gonna be fair as there will be no biased judgment towards any gender, guys. Leadership and gender are believed not to be an issue anymore. However, this subject has been a hot topic for the past few decades up till now, especially on social media. Some of you might not know what gender equality is before we get into a lengthy debate about it, so let's start there. Okay, listen up. Gender equality is when people of all genders have equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities. Equality in leadership means the responsibility of leading is divided evenly among us. A particular term in economics, glass ceiling, describes the method of male leaders dominating the business world and occupying senior positions. We progress toward equality but still have some prejudice toward women who choose to climb the ladder instead of being just wife and mother. Some people still believe that only men are born to lead, and it is in their nature to strive for recognition and success. Let's explore further the issue of women's and men's parity in leadership roles by revealing the unseen barrier of standing in the way of progress. Television, film, and popular culture shape our ideas about gender. They tell us how women and men are supposed to look, act, and treat others. Role incongruity occurs when someone holds belief or stereotypes about a group inconsistent with the behavior necessary to succeed in a specific role. So in other words, there is a common belief that gender differences make women and men effective in different roles. Thus, women are less effective when the leader role is masculinized, and men are less effective when the role is feminized. So, for example, a woman can be a very effective military leader, but her platoon may not support her because she is in a role incongruent with femininity. A similar problem exists with male nurses as well. A man can be an excellent nurse, but those he cares for may not receive him positively because he is in a role considered incongruent with his gender. Role congruity theory make it difficult for men and women to succeed as leaders if their behaviors are not perceived to be congruent with their genders. This is real though. I've seen it myself where people surrounding me were getting stereotyped. Okay, so Cairo, have you been in a position like this where you get stereotyped by others, and how do you deal with it?
I have seen people being stereotyped by the opposite gender frequently, but thankfully, similar occasion never happened to me so far. Personally, I believe women are able to work in men-dominated occupations such as being a mechanic or law enforcement officer, and men also can work in female-dominated occupations such as nurse and teachers. However, there are limitations to both genders where the performance or outcome will differ. Limitations such as emotional understanding, approach, or physical attributes are the contributing factors to the statement that I made. So, for example, I have an aunt and an uncle who both work as nurse, and I have observed how they took care of my late grandmother a few years ago. So my late grandmother would prefer female, in this case my aunt, to take care of her, as women are more gentle and understanding. Back to the question, if I get stereotyped by others, I will try to exercise my knowledge to explain to them why there should be no stereotype, especially if we are talking about leadership positions. There are numbers of women that hold executive positions in numerous countries, such as Margaret Thatcher from United Kingdom, the late Indira Gandhi from India, and Jacinda Ardern from New Zealand. All of these leaders are women and perform very well during their tenure.
Yeah, I agree with you. Plus, many people associate leadership behaviors with agentic behaviors associated with stereotypically masculine traits such as assertiveness, aggression, competitiveness, dominance, independence, and self-reliance. So this association creates a conflict for women when they attain leadership positions because they are expected to act like a leader and like a woman. Thus, to be accepted as leaders, women often must walk a fine line between two opposing sets of expectations. So these stereotypes persist at all levels of leadership, whether in school, the workplace, or the university. So, Cairo, in the context of the university level, since you are currently running as president of IPRMSA, what has been the most significant barrier in your journey of being a leader to your own team?
So, when talking about barrier, the barrier that I face in my journey so far is to get the wavelength and style of communicating with women in my team. I oftenly found that my style of conversing may look and sound hostile or harsh for them. This not only happened with women in my team but also among my female friends too. In several occasions, my style of delivering words or message had offended few friends. I believe different style of communicating and the wavelength are the only barrier for now.
It is an outdated belief to characterize men as more agentic than women, taking charge and being controlled, and to characterize women as more communal than men, being attuned to others and building relationships. Do men make better leaders than women, or do women make better leaders than men? Actually, guys, leadership is about self-confidence, responsibility, integrity, humility, and trustworthiness. Those attributes are not gender-specific. Therefore, leadership can't be gender-specific. Some people say that men and women can sit together in a room because they have different styles of leaderships. The male and female leadership styles are considered different, but different doesn't necessarily mean worse or wrong. Numerous research activities on this topic are an ongoing attempt to shed some light on how leadership is relevant to gender. The researchers have their point of view on this controversial matter. To figure out why women's strengths and potential have still been questioned, it is necessary to look at historical aspects of this phenomena and analyze the situation nowadays. So, what actually characteristics define a great leader? Great leaders are humble, honest, inspirational, and committed. They know how to communicate their vision well with those around them and welcome innovative thinking. They can delegate and trust their teams with an optimistic approach, which means that leadership is genderless. So leadership is a hard work and effort process that needs a never-ending self-development. It's a road paved with failure and success. No matter your gender, if you want to be a great leader, then go for it, because the characteristics of becoming such a leader are personal. Alright, I bet you are familiar with being surrounded by female leadership, right? Since you have several female leaders in your team, what do you think is the most dangerous behavior or trait derailing female leaders' success or careers?
So, we are talking about dangerous traits that are often attributed with female leader, and how does this trait derail their career in the future or in the present. So, from my observation, women actually tend to be easily affected by their emotions. They are really their life are mostly depending on their emotions, and this is the biggest trait that usually derails their career. This trait hinders them to deliver the best working quality and performance once they get emotional. Women are easily filled with their emotion, which also hinders decision making in executive level. Crisis, intimate relationships, or loss of someone that is close to them are the frequent reason that affects women's emotions. I believe that emotional management is the sole but biggest factor that often derails female leaders' careers.
I understand where you're coming from, but there are some part that perhaps we are not on the same page. Okay, a widely held view is that women are emotional than men. Some argue that this makes them unsuitable for positions that demand critical, cool-headed decision-making. The claim that women are more emotional should immediately raise the questions of what we mean by emotional. Perhaps we are referring to the intensity at which one experiences an emotion. Women may feel emotion more intensely, but this would not be easy to establish with certainty. Feelings are subjective, as are individuals' ratings of their intensity. So the claim that women are too emotional to be influential leaders is beyond absurd, I think, when we consider the vast array of human emotions and gender-specific social norms that dictate how we express them, the multitude of qualities of influential leaders, the variation among individuals within a single gender, and the abundance of evidence for the ability of women to lead effectively. So I think it is a worse than baseless generalization that may ultimately handicap our leadership. So such claim will make us angry, of course, not because we are emotional or belong to a particular gender, but because we are informed, thinking people who care about our leadership. So, even if we define emotionality as a tendency to allow emotion to influence judgment, it's only one of many factors we might consider insuitability for leadership, and arguably not one of the more important ones. So, leadership itself is complex and comes in a variety of styles. Okay, we put emotionally aside. Evidence abounds that women can also be influential leaders. In their ranking of the world's 50 most significant leaders, Fortune included quite a few females like Angela Merkel, Mary Robinson, Ellen Kullman, and many more. Some women, at least, can be influential leaders. So, perhaps by hearing about how you dealt with female leaders on your team, Cairo, we women can strengthen any areas where we may not have noticed a weakness. So, what would you say?
So, for those who are currently holding leadership position and to those who are planning to embark on one, my advice is please be professional and be able to shove your feelings aside when given a task. I know it is hard, but it will get harder when you lose your work performance and your subordinates and teammates lost their trust towards your leadership.
Yeah, okay. The question of equal rights and opportunities in leadership has been of curiosity for many years. Even though we have many women nowadays as top leaders of multinational corporations, they are still minority in this business world. So if prejudice and wrongful belief were holding back female leadership a long time back, what keeps women away from accelerating their career these days? We believe we do not judge a book by its cover, but maybe we do. Women can comprise great leaders and climb the career ladder with their male counterparts. So Khairul, how can you as the current president of IPRMSA promote gender equality and enhance gender sensitivity in your own leadership at the university level?
So as we all know, men are created to be partnered with women. It's not Adam and Steve, it's Adam and Eve. So in order to promote gender equality and enhance gender sensitivity, we practice a style of leadership where sharing of knowledge on leadership skills are done with every EXCO member regardless of their gender. This is done in order to slowly dispose the gender stereotype of women holding leadership positions. Furthermore, in IPRMSA UiTM Melaka chapter, we also provide opportunity for our female member to become the head of project for events and programs that we organize for every semester. There are few programs that was spearheaded by female member as both head of project and assistant head of project. In IPRMSA UiTM Melaka chapter, we believe in gender equality, especially in terms of our treatment, opportunities and work expectations.
Okay, attention must be paid to identifying and addressing these various gender imbalances and gaps in leadership. Perhaps organizations can encourage a culture of inclusion and diversity and take initiative where female role models are acknowledged and highlighted. And good news guys, Malaysia has taken one step forward to promote gender equality. Gender Focal Point GFP was developed in each ministry to incorporate gender considerations in all government planning, policy implementation and endeavours. I hope that by having this initiative, Malaysia is one step away from achieving balanced participation between men and women, especially in leadership. Plus, multiple studies prove that there is no tag right or wrong guys we can put on the managerial strategies of men and women. I agree that nowadays we go by opportunities present on the market, so individuals itself based on their career objective and business needs of the companies can comprise a perfect match whether they are men or women. Okay, last question before we come to the end of this episode. Okay, Khairul, what's one piece of advice you have for our listeners currently in leadership roles or preparing to be a leader?
Sure, but this is not one piece, it's like several pieces. Well,
sure.
Those are currently holding leadership positions or planning to become one, my advice are firstly to be mentally and physically prepared, as holding leadership positions and juggling with assignments and lectures can be very challenging. You will spend days of packed schedule, especially a few days or few weeks before every event that you organize. Holding the position with unprepared state of mind will take a toll on you, especially for people who lack the experience of first time holding leadership positions. Next is you have to keep an open mind, which means open to criticism and also opinion, be it from your subordinates or from the opposite gender. Autocratic style of administration will only punch a hole on your arm, hence sinking your ship midway. And the last advice will be always be patient. Life is like a roller coaster. It is full of ups and downs. So be strong and be patient. Remember, behind every cloud there will always be a silver lining. And please be up for new challenge as it strengthen our mind and our body.
Alright, Khairul, thank you for all your opinion today. Thank you for making your time to be here with us to share your opinion.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
I bet we both and everyone who listen to this podcast learn something new about both genders.
I hope so, inshallah.
Yeah, okay. See you again, Khairul. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I believe we have come to the end of today's podcast. If you are hearing this message, you have listened to the entire episode, and for that, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Remember guys, there is no need for arguments about which gender is better or right and wrong. Men and women are born to complement each other in many ways. It is crucial to promote shared values such as respect for human rights and equality between women and men, and a common understanding that human rights are universal and apply to all irrespective of gender. I hope you enjoyed this new episode, and if you did, please leave us a review on our social media platform at IPRMSA Melaka. Please share this episode with others who may be interested in this topic. Also, feel free to let me know what topics you want to be covered in future episodes. Get in touch in the comments or on at IPRMSA Melaka social media platforms. See you next week for a new episode. Ciao, ciao, ciao.